story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. In a major story, the Bring Back Our Girls group demands a midterm account of the 6-week war on terror from the military. Also in this program, the Independent National Electoral Commission extends the collection date for the permanent voter cards till the 22nd of March. Lagos lawyer Femi Falana slams proposed lawmakers' pension in Lagos State, threatens court action. And outside Nigeria, Zambian President Edgar Lungu collapses on the podium, rushed to the hospital. The Bring Back Our Girls group has asked for what it called a midterm report of the 6 weeks military operations against Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast. It also challenged the military authorities to publish the number of terrorists killed, number of those captured alive, number of fallen troops and those injured. The group, at its sit-out on Sunday in Abuja, also demanded for names of all liberated towns, villages and local government, as well as the communities that residents could return to and those that are safe for habitation. The movement in a statement said it looked forward to the victory of the military and the multinational joint task force, noting that it is hopeful that the military will succeed in bringing back the Chibok schoolgirls. The group asked the federal government to respond to the perception that it may have mismanaged the support that several countries, like the United Kingdom and the United States, offered at the beginning of the search to rescue the Chibok girls in May 2014. The Bring Back Our Girls group also challenged the British government and other countries which gave support to the federal government to demonstrate a minimum standard of accountability by providing substantial update on the results they have accomplished. The Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the deadline for collection of permanent voter cards, PVCs, across the country by additional 2 weeks. This is in spite of attaining 80% collection ratio nationwide. The Commission said in a statement issued by the spokesman for the INEC chairman, Kayode Idowu, that PVC collection, which was to end on March 8th, will continue till March 22nd. It, however, noted that this would be the last opportunity for duly registered persons who have yet to collect their PVCs to do so before elections scheduled for March 28th and April 11th. As the impeachment saga in Ebonyi State rumbles on, the state government says the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and management of Fidelity Bank has grounded the state's finances, making it difficult for the government to pay workers' salary. According to the state's Attorney General, Ben Igwenyi, both EFCC and Fidelity Bank are working with some of the government's political enemies to paralyze the state. The allegation is contained in a suit it filed against the EFCC and Fidelity Bank before the Federal High Court, Abuja. Igwenyi, along with the state's 13 local governments, filed the suit FHC/ABJ/CS/ 11/2015, seeking, among other prayers, the court's declaration that the power of the EFCC to freeze its accounts exercised through Fidelity Bank is unlawful. The plaintiffs are with the suit challenging, among others, the decision by the bank to freeze its joint local government account number 5030027464, held in the bank allegedly on the directive by the EFCC. The plaintiffs, in a supporting affidavit, stated that the basis for freezing the account is politically motivated by political differences. As the 2015 general elections draw near, the FCT police commanders embarked on specialized training for its officers and men to ensure the conduct of free and fair elections in the territory. FCT Commissioner of Police Wilson Inalegu, while speaking to newsmen, said the training was organized for the personnel of the command to know their roles and responsibilities during the elections. He added that other security agencies are also involved in the training in the spirit of interagency collaboration. It said, apart from the military, whose role will be restricted during the elections, other security agencies will man the various polling centers and will participate in the training. The CP said peace accord has been signed by all the contestants in the FCT. It said the signing of the peace accord was part of efforts to ensure that the March 28th election will hold within the territory and will be peaceful. As the 2015 general elections draw near, rifts within the various political parties have continued unabated. The Ogun State chapter of the Labour Party is not left out as accusation and counter-accusation over money flies about. Our reporter Olajumoke Olatuji presents the findings into the intra-party field.
Lack of internal democracy in Nigeria's political parties has over time become a threat to the country's nascent democracy. Recent party primaries throughout the country clearly show a disturbing trend of failure to adhere strictly with democratic norms and principles. Various political parties have failed to open up their parties to all party members who are eligible and want to run for office in their party primaries. Some candidates have been imposed on the party without election and due process. Some of the candidates allegedly won via a so-called consensus option. The ripple effect of some of these decisions is creating a storm within the Ogun State Labour Party.
I appeal to Labour Party, the political party that represents labourers and the common man in the political arena, to pay me my wages, for have been with Labour Party since January 2007 up till now, and I've never been given a single kobo. In the last gubernatorial election, Asiwaju Awosedo made it known that he gave Simeon Bode and Adegbola my wages, which they pocketed. When asked why, they say they used the money to pay Labour Party's debt. And since then, they abandoned Labour Party's car within my compound. I don't need their car. They should come and collect it. I'm not a driver. I don't know how to drive. All I need is my wages, and they should take away their car.
In his reaction, Sunday Ogini, the secretary of the party, says Kulia Kingbogo is nothing but a liar.
His case is inconsequential. I did not meet him in the party, and we don't want to start to decorate what is not. I'm not part of that arrangement, so the party is not part of that. It is not official. All the arrangement they are doing is unofficial. And if you want to take legal action, you should know the implications.
Yeah, but you should be speaking on behalf.
No, if I'm speaking, I said the party has never been part of that shenanigan. It has been a friendship affairs within them. They were living together with Bodesibion, with Adebola or whatever. It is personal issue.
For his part, a Lagos lawyer, Monday Obani, says the idea of INEC taking over party primaries is not right, but also added the lack of internal democracy within parties is due to the avarice of the leadership of most of the parties.
Well, the issue of internal democracy is very key in democracy. People should be allowed to contest election, and the majority should always decide who becomes the candidate of that political party. But what we have in most of the political parties is an issue of imposition. They impose candidates, the rise of godfatherism and godson is the order of the day. But I think what actually brings that about is what goes on in governance. You know, the moment you win an election, you are unfettered. You have access to the treasury, and you do whatever you want to do with the treasury without proper accountability, without proper monitoring. And so people do all manner of things, even illegal, unconstitutional, in order to be in power.
But with the general elections a few weeks away, the tension, name-calling and disagreements would only get fiercer. Olajumoke Latuji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
The 2015 general elections will go down as the most controversial in Nigeria's history. Opinion leaders across the country have expressed divergent views, with most comments targeting the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega. While some are calling for his sack, others believe the INEC helmsman should be allowed to finish the good work he started. At a press briefing to commemorate the forthcoming Eledumare Festival, the promoter, Gani Adams, seized the opportunity to air his opinion on national issues, particularly the much-awaited 2015 general elections. He called for the immediate sack of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega. The All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Organization has made a formal complaint against First Lady Patience Jonathan, who during a rally in Calabar, Cross River State last week, called for the PDP supporters to stone anyone who came to the state asking for change. The party says a letter of complaint signed by River State Governor and Director General of the campaign team, Rotimi Amechi, will on Monday, March 9th, be dispatched to the International Criminal Court, ICC, the Inspector General of Police, and the National Human Rights Commission. According to Governor Amechi, the president's wife had, through a comment, clearly called on PDP supporters to attack APC supporters chanting the party slogan of change. The party likened some of her inciting statements and conduct at campaign rallies to those of Mrs. Simone Gbagbo, wife of the former president of Côte d'Ivoire, Laurent Gbagbo, prior to that country's 2010 election. Lagos lawyer Femi Falana has described the life pension being allegedly proposed for lawmakers in Lagos as an infringement on constitutional provisions. The senior advocate, while reacting to a recent media report that members of Lagos State House of Assembly are deliberating on a bill proposing a life pension for the Speaker of the House and his deputy. Falana, in a statement on Sunday, said legislators, being only part-time workers, are not entitled to any form of pension under the Pension Reforms Act 2014. It describes the move as insensitive and immoral at a time when workers are owed salaries and allowances. According to Falana, the position of the law is clear as to the non-entitlement of legislators to pension, since they are not civil servants and are only required by the Constitution to sit for not more than 181 days or 6 months in a year. It said only the president and governors are entitled to pension in line with Section 84 subsection 5 and Section 124 subsection 5 of the Constitution, adding that if the Lagos legislators did not drop the idea, he would not hesitate to challenge them in court. It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back after this timeout with details of words between the Ekiti State government and ruling houses in Ikere Ekiti over vacant Ogoga stool. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influence the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Thank you for being there. And if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are some of the stories that made our headlines. The Bring Back Our Girls group demands a midterm account of the 6-week war on terror from the military. The Independent National Electoral Commission extends the collection date for the permanent voter cards till the 22nd of March. Lagos lawyer Femi Falana slams proposed lawmakers' pension in Lagos State, threatens court action. And for more on CoreTV News, you can visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, with a space, then News. Kwara State's Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed has again cried out over the dwindling federal allocation to the state. While speaking in Ilorin, the state capital, the governor says the present situation of dwindling federal allocation has brought with it a negative impact on governance. It says the situation is an anathema for the nation's democracy. We apologize for the lack of audio in that report. To bring you the report in a subsequent bulletin. Alleged unknown arsonists have burnt down the studio of Benin-based television station Independent Television, with accusing fingers being pointed by the state chapter of the PDP against the All Progressives Congress in the state. Our correspondent filed in this report on the incident.
The acting general manager news, Abiodun Mudashiru, who narrated the incident to sympathizers and the state chairman of the PDP in Benin, thanked them for their solidarity and said security agents were already investigating the incident.
This past night, last night, when the network news was going on, that the operatives observed that there was an explosion in this studio. The operatives normally sit behind this wall with their equipment. So when they heard small explosion here, they decided to come and investigate what was wrong. In the process of doing that, they said the roof just came down once with huge fire. And that was how there was confusion and the place was engulfed. So that was what happened in a nutshell.
The ITV studio is now a shadow of itself as a result of the inferno, while other offices on the same building touched were rescued. Marks indicated that a fire incident must have been carried out by saboteurs who gained access through the fence.
Of course, we called the state fire service, the University of Benin fire service, and the military too, the army, Nigerian army, police sent their firefighters to come. In fact, it was their effort that prevented the fire from extending to the other parts of the building.
Chief Dan Obi, the state PDP chairman, who commiserated with management of ITV on the incident, alleged that the APC-led government was behind the dastardly acts, saying that the proprietor had informed him of threat to his media house. He therefore urged the police to bring the perpetrators to justice.
I still want to restrain myself from jumping into conclusions. I still want the security agencies to swing into action and at least let the public know all those who are behind this. But for me, I can confirm that on several occasions in the past few weeks, there have been threats from government functionaries and those who are key actors of the APC government in Edo State to the proprietor of this station, saying they were going to deal with him. In fact, he informed me that the son, the former governor, was called by the governor and he told him in very clear terms that they were going to take very serious action against ITV. You will recall that in the past few months, government had cause to even send them out from reporting government activities. And I'm not surprised that now we are in a situation where they don't even want them to report anything in Edo State.
The state APC chairman, in his response to the PDP allegation, described the incident as unfortunate and that the party, despite having issues with state government, was resolved, but that the party could not have done that.
To trivialize such a serious and unfortunate incident to a point of politicizing it, in my opinion, is most wicked of him. Not necessarily to us in the APC, but even to the owner of that station. When you consider the huge investment in that place. Yes, it is true that recently we had issues with the station and their policy or hostility towards our government. And government took appropriate steps. I know as a fact that efforts have been made and a lot of success has been recorded in reconciling the issues. So if we didn't do it at the height of hostility, why would we do it now that there is relative peace between Chief Igbinedion and the government of Edo State? I think that's a very stupid allegation to make at a point in time like this.
Meanwhile, on Mosadei, Igbinedion, daughter of the owner of the station, assured that in the next 48 hours, the station would bounce back, adding that no matter the sabotage, it will not derail their focus ahead of elections.
To move on and fight on, because success, victory is certain. I can smell it in the air. And certain obstacles will always come, as you get closer to the finish line, and I think this is just one of them, but it's a stumbling block that I am ready to cross, and I urge my supporters and the people of Ovia to please keep steadfast. We may be off air for the moment, and you may not see as many adverts on television, but indeed we're moving forward, and by the grace of God we'll be up again in the next 48 hours. They will not truncate my destiny, and they will not stop our victory.
It will be recalled that the state government and management of independent television had a rift over policy issues in which ITV reporter and cameraman was barred from covering government house activity a month ago and was later resolved. With this incident, the last is yet to be seen.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has called on all Nigerians to stop accepting the excuses of the federal government on the failure to provide constant power supply. Fashola, who spoke at the commissioning of the independent power project for the peninsula in Lekki, says power supply is no rocket science. He argued that the federal government has failed in this regard and should accept it. This day is certainly a memorable day in the lives of the personnel of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Imo State Command. The state commandant was today honored with an award of excellence by the Presbyterian Church Women League, who acknowledged the fact that ever since she assumed duty, illicit drugs in the state has reduced drastically. We'll bring you details of that report later. The demise of Adegoke Adegboye, the Ogoga of Ikere-Ekiti in August, has left the stool vacant, and effort aimed at filling the vacuum has pitched the state government against the traditional establishment and the ruling houses in Ikere-Ekiti. Rashid has more in this report. We sincerely apologize for that technical itch. We'll take another break on the CoreTV Primetime News, and we'll be back with business, sports, and other stories from outside Nigeria. Please don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And now to business. Gold fell nearly 3% to a 3-month low on Friday. Spot gold was down 2.6% at $1,167.40 by 2:38 p.m. on track for its biggest daily drop since October 2013. The metal was heading for a 5th straight session of losses and the biggest weekly drop in a month. On the physical market, prices on the Shanghai Gold Exchange suggested fiscal demand for gold in China. The second biggest bullion consumer remained at healthy levels. Chinese gold prices were about $4 to $5 an ounce higher than the global benchmark. Spot silver was down 2% at $15.84 on an ounce after falling to a 2-month low of $15.74. Palladium was off 1.1% at $815 an ounce, and platinum dropped 1.7% to $1,154.75 an ounce. Brent crude oil supplied further falling below $60 a barrel. U.S. light crude closed down $1.15 or 2.27% at $49.61 a barrel. Brent was down 65 cents a barrel at $60. And now to sports. Barcelona moved to the top of La Liga for the first time since early November as Lionel Messi struck his 32nd hat-trick, moving level with Cristiano Ronaldo on 30 league goals for the season in a 6-1 thrashing of 10-man Rayo Vallecano on Sunday. Real Madrid's 1-0 defeat at Atletico Bilbao on Saturday handed Barca the chance to overtake the European champions, and Luis Suarez wasted no time in taking advantage as he slotted home his 6th goal in as many games. Gerard Piqué doubled the hosts' advantage just after half-time before Messi added a third from the penalty spot, with Tito sent off for a second bookable offense. Both sides ended with 10 men when Dani Alves was shown a straight red card from bringing down Alberto Bueno inside the area. However, Barca at the final word when Suarez slammed home his second of the afternoon from Messi's through ball. Blackburn Rovers end a well-deserved draw against Liverpool at Anfield as the championship side forced an FA Cup quarter-final replay. Craig Conway fired over an early on for the visitors before Kolo Toure had an offside goal disallowed for the Reds. Alex Batiste had a goal-bound header saved as Blackburn continued to impress after the break. Liverpool pressed late on with Jordan Henderson seeing a volley saved, but a replay at Airwood Park. The match was halted for 8 minutes early on as centre-back Martin Skrtel was taken off on a stretcher with a head injury after a heavy landing following an aerial challenge with Rudy Gestede. Andy Murray sealed a Davis Cup quarter-final place for Great Britain with straight set win over American John Isner in Glasgow. The Scot, who saved 3 set points in set 1, won 7-6, 7-4, 6-3, 7-6, 7-4 to give Britain an unassailable 3-1 lead in the World Group first-round tie. Britain will next play France at home in July with the venue to be decided. The 27-year-old, who returned to play in Scotland this week for the first time in 4 years, looked edgy in the early stages against Isner, but was clinical when it counted. Murray had been a heavy favourite to finish the job for Britain against a player who had suffered a brutal 5-set defeat by James Ward on Friday. And now to other stories outside Nigeria. Zambia's President Edgar Lungu collapsed on the podium while presiding over a Women's Day celebration in Lusaka less than 2 months after taking over from a leader who died in office. Lungu was rushed to a military hospital on Sunday, but the president's office later issued a statement saying he had been treated for malaria and there was no need for concern. Lungu came to power in January after the death in office of President Michael Sata in October. Rumors that Sata was ill had circulated widely before his death, but were always denied by the government. Sata was Zambia's second leader to die in office in 6 years, sparking calls for presidential aspirants to undergo medical checks to guarantee their fit. Lungu, who fell after standing for some 20 minutes during the ceremony, is rumored to have diabetes, the AFP news agency reported. Presidential spokesman Amos Chande said doctors at the military hospital had conducted comprehensive medical checks and said Lungu's results were good. Saudi Arabia has expressed surprise and dismay at international media reports criticizing the flogging of a Saudi blogger for insulting Islam. In its first official statement on the case, the foreign ministry said it rejected any interference in its internal affairs. Raif Badawi was sentenced to 1,000 lashes and 10 years in jail last year. He received the first 50 lashes in January, prompting strong criticism of Saudi Arabia's human rights record. The foreign ministry said it could not accept any infringement on the country's sovereignty or on the impartiality of its judiciary system. Mr. Badawi's case has prompted international protests and was raised by several governments. Mr. Badawi's 1,000 lashes were scheduled to be administered over 20 weeks. He received his first 50 lashes outside a mosque in Jeddah in January, but subsequent rounds have been postponed. Mr. Badawi established the Liberal Saudi Network, a now-closed online forum that sought to encourage debate on religious and political matters in 2008. A Moscow court has charged 2 men in connection with the murder of Russian opposition activist Boris Nemtsov. It said one of the men, Zohar Dadayev, had admitted involvement in the shooting on a bridge near the Kremlin. He and the other accused, Anzor Gubashev, are of Chechen origin. 3 other suspects in the case also appeared before the court on Sunday and have been remanded in custody. Nemtsov, a former deputy prime minister and veteran Libyan politician, 55, was shot in the back 4 times as he was walking with his girlfriend within sight of the Kremlin. He was buried in Moscow on Tuesday. Anzor Gubashev and Dadayev, who are both accused of organizing and carrying out the murder, were brought into court amid heavy security. Little is known about the men, but reports say Dadayev once served in a battalion of Interior Ministry troops in Chechnya. The other suspects include Gubachev's younger brother, Shagid Gubashev, and 2 reports say all 3 have denied any involvement in the murder. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. But before we go, a recap of our major stories. The Bring Back Our Girls group has demanded a midterm account of the 6-week war on terror from the military. The Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the collection date for the permanent voter cards till the 22nd of March. Finally, Lagos lawyer Femi Falana slammed proposed lawmakers' pension in Lagos, threatened court action. And that's it for tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Adekunle, wishing you a pleasant night rest.